Hi. So I think it was last week that I talked about, maybe it was the week before that, I don't know. If you need a coach, or a business coach, if you're going to start a business. And my answer was like, maybe, but no. Coaches definitely can help you through some issues. Usually the trade-off is kind of like time versus dollars. But that's not necessarily true. And so I shared the resource SCORE, which is associated with the Small Business Association, and they provide free mentoring, and that's, which I guess is not quite coaching, but they have a lot of free resources, and so then you can kind of get mentoring without having to invest a lot of money, or any money, I guess, unless it costs you public transportation to get to the library or wherever you're going to meet. So it's very low stakes. So what are some of the other things that you might go to a coach for, and how could you do that on your own if you're not ready to make that investment, or you're just not able to make that investment yet? And so often, well, there's different kinds of coaches, first of all. There's the prescriptive kind who's like, you must do this, this, and this. And those are like your kind of like, makes me think of, I actually don't know this because I've never been in any kind of school athletics. I'm not coordinated. But in my head, that's kind of like your sports coach. Like, you're going to run this many laps and you're going to do this many things, and this is how you're going to get better. And I'm going to give you the list of things to do. And in some ways that is helpful. Because sometimes that's exactly what you need, especially when you're feeling overwhelmed, is I want a list of A, B, C, D, E, like step by step. That whole part of us that's like, I hate following the rules, but tell me exactly what to do so I can do it. And so there's that kind of coaching. And then there's other coaches who aren't prescriptive. And that's the kind that I tend to gravitate towards now. And it's more of a collaborative effort, and they provide expertise, but they provide, but they also provide a fresh set of eyes and a way to ask questions so that that you can come to your own conclusion about things, which generally, because of my contrary nature, when it's my idea, which these things are, like even choosing to go to a coach who is prescriptive, that is your idea. But how well you're going to stick to it, I can't say. Not so well, unless it is a very specific task, in which case I'm not looking so much for a coach as just like a how-to guide. So in those less prescriptive kinds of relationships, it's more about you discovering things about yourself through talking with someone who's got a fresh perspective, a different perspective, and a different area of expertise that you are trying to pick up. And so how can you do that if you don't have the resources right now to invest in that? Well, you can journal. One of the things that that is helpful is to just do the brain dump, and not so much because you're going to go back and read it, but just gets your brain thinking about things, and maybe you spark an idea. Another option is to I mentioned this in the video where I talked about like figuring out how to consider your assets from a different perspective. And I shared a copywriting secret, like about how to just keep asking yourself, but why, until you get down to the base answer. And that could be something that you could do about either something that you're drawn to, that you're struggling with, or figuring out exactly what to do with it, or if you're on the other side, if you're resisting something that you want to do in a way that's beyond like your ADHD, low dopamine task thing. If it's something that you want to do, but you keep resisting taking a step, is you can either journal about it and just keep drilling down to why. And at the core of that, there's going to be an emotion. Probably if you're resisting something, it's a fear of some kind. And so then you can work on those either whether you see a regular therapist, you can do that. There's resources, books or whatever to help you kind of get to the bottom of that and figure out ways to work around that, or to cognitive behavior therapy, like why is that triggering? What's the cause? How do you navigate around that when you feel that feeling? And so that's one way you can do it. You can sometimes just recognizing, oh, I'm feeling scared of this thing. And then it gets into one of the, I've heard this from so many coaches, I don't even know who to attribute it to, but it comes to dealing with imposter syndrome, because a lot of things, if you're resisting them or it's a block, it's going to be related to probably some kind of fear, generally. Your fear of failure, or fear of looking silly, or fear of, fear holds us back. And so the good question to start asking yourself about any assumptions that you make is this true? And what is the evidence that it's true? And if you can't think of like hard evidence, and like the mean girl in 10th grade who said the thing to you is not evidence. The thing that your ex said to you is not evidence. So look at what is true about what you believe, and ask what proves that to me. And if there isn't proof, then why couldn't it just as easily be good instead of bad? Why couldn't the good thing happen instead of the bad thing? If there's no evidence that the bad thing is going to happen, then isn't the good thing just as likely, or even more likely? So that's another way that you can kind of work through these things on your own. You don't need someone to walk you through it. Like I said, it might take you more time doing it this way, or you can also chat with a friend or find message boards and talk through things. There's so many options on there, but the key is to figure out what it is that is the thing that's holding you back, and to notice. So you're going to have to pay a little bit more attention to what's going on, and you can, like, what you're feeling and why you're resisting certain things, to figure out why you aren't moving forward the way that you want to move forward. And sometimes it could be as easy as conversation with a friend. Sometimes it's just the person asking the right question to get you out of the spiral that you're in, because you've just completely lost the ability to look outside of the little brain spiral that you're in. And then that's all it takes. Sometimes it's just that much of a fresh perspective. So yes, coaches are valuable. Do you need one? Yeah. Are they helpful? Sure. Is every coach for everybody? No. So those are just some things I wanted to share about how you can work around some issues. Again, if you're not ready to invest in a coach, or you're not sure you want to, or you want to try it on your own, because these are all good skills to have. But that's just one way that you can handle things if you're working through things on your own. And if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments. Thanks.